Remember the times where Meepcity had 100k players? Gone. Remember when Pokemon Brick Bronze was the best game on Roblox? Gone. Remember when these 3 games had super high player counts? All gone. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining why. We'll start with Meepcity, one of the biggest games ever. How could it possibly have died when it has peaked at such a high player count? So let's start with the first major issue, online dating. It started in 2016 where the parties feature was added, and people quickly started making parties that we can refer to as condos. There were actually places where people were doing inappropriate things with inappropriate outfits. I think you can guess where I'm trying to go here. It got so bad that it eventually got shut down after a news article from BBC News reported the game, which would cause Meepcity to be under review by Roblox. As for a fact, Meepcity did not stop this at all before the Roblox review. Eventually, the owner Alex Neutron removed beds from the game, but after a while when parties were updated, you could use beds again, with no explanation on why. Another big issue with Meepcity was that the lack of updates kind of ruined it as well. Even though there were so many things to do, this stops at some point. It's impossible to not know this game, unless you are Gen Alpha, of course. But this game, bro, created by these names on the screen, by the way. Bro, I cannot explain this, but it was so much fun. Literally, I could play this all day without stopping. And now you might ask, how did it die? Well, technically, it didn't die out because of updates or controversies. It died out because the Pokemon Company filed a DMCA to have the game taken down, ultimately bringing down the player count to 0. For the people who played this, we were super disappointed. And I think most of us already started searching up copies to still play it, but it just didn't feel the same. Luckily for the people who bought game passes, got free game passes in their new game called Lumion Legacy. That game is not really dead, but it's not reaching the same player counts as they used to, which is pretty reasonable. Now we know Pet Simulator had multiple games, so we're going to explain all 4 of those games. So yep, we're gonna be here for a long time, bro. Pet Simulator 1, the first pet simulator made by Big Games. It had a total of 15 updates over its lifespan and was a huge success. But as every other simulator, players started to move on and go to different games. But they didn't want to let this success go, which I would see as reasonable. They later came out with Pet Simulator 2, which absolutely flopped. But of course, they did not want to give up and spend a lot of time on the next game, Pet Simulator X. But there's one major issue with this game. It was super pay to win, and you might think that people would stop playing it, but no. It is 9th of June 2025 and the game has a total of 8.9 billion visits. But with this pay to win, a lot of big YouTubers started to criticize Big Games, talking about how Big Games sends letters to teenagers to delete their games for having blocky pets in their game, which is just awful as game developers to do. The group, Big Games, also started to introduce NFTs to their game, which is strongly against the Roblox rules. They eventually took this down though, but they didn't stop here. After the fall of Pet Simulator X, because of all the controversies, Pet Simulator 99 dropped. Yeah, they really cared about money. This game popped off immediately, peaking at 410k players at once. And yes, you could have guessed it, there was still pay to win. All they think about is money. This game is not dead compared to the others. For example, the first one is reaching around 60 players, and Pet Simulator X is reaching around 2k players. But enough about this game, let's get to the next one. Big Paintball, a base FPS Roblox game developed also by Big Games. Seems like you already know what path this is going to. It was released in 2019 and is now sitting at a total of 1.8 billion visits. This game was meant to be pay to win, but luckily no one really bought anything in this game except for maybe big YouTubers who played it a lot. But if you were to play a game, there's a very slim chance you will meet someone with paid weapons. It once had 36k players online at once, but now it is suffering a player count of maximum 3k players. The reason this game died out was the crazy performance issues it had. You could not run this game normally on a low-end device, which ruined the fun completely while being such a simple game. This isn't the biggest reason though. The game fell victim to exploiters. I'm not talking like 10 exploiters, I'm talking about hundreds of exploiters. It was super common to play a game against an exploiter, which also ruined the fun. The game started dying down after exploiters kept coming back, and eventually they released Big Paintball 2 in 2023. First it costed Robux, but in October it became free of charge. This never really became the successor of Big Paintball 1, as it peaked at 13k players, but after only a week dropped down to 5k players. it did not get better. I think people just got bored of it and left it, and that is actually the shortest game I've talked about. Rampage, one of the most anticipated Battlegrounds game that we've ever seen. On the day of release, 74,000 players. This went down a bit, but at every update it spiked to around 50k. The crazy thing is, it is now struggling to reach 1,000 players consistently, and as no one really knows why this game actually died, I decided to join the game and ask the players themselves why this game died, and get their opinions on it. This might be actually a bit easier to ask why this game died. Let's just ask them straight up. Maybe this guy responds. So after asking someone with obviously a bit of time spent on the game how it died, there's one answer: updates. Now, developers really don't seem to grasp of how important updates are. Look at Jujutsu Infinite for example. 376,000 players at once, and now struggling to get 5k purely because they took too long to update and didn't prioritize good updates. I made a whole video about this, by the way, go watch that as well. But that was basically the video, and I hope y'all liked it. I'm going to be taking a week off because of exams, but after that I'm coming back with a banger.